This morning I woke up and everything was just like every day else. I have 2 alarm clocks on my bedside table. One rings at 7 o'clock, the other at 9 o'clock. In this way, I'm sure to get out of the bed at 8 o'clock. I had my usual breakfast. A 30-minute session on the toilet for the big one. Immediately after, I left my flat. When I was waiting for the lift, I realized that my pants were still dropped, so I put them on properly. Leaving my building, a homeless guy asked me if I had some money to eat. I replied that yes, I remembered to take the money for lunch, thank you, and I left. It was so kind of him to worry about my lunch. I walked to the tube station, where something very unusual happened. All the trains were on time. My train is never on time. Never. It's always 10 minutes late. So, I sat on a bench and waited for 10 minutes for my train. I had to wait 7 trains before mine. But I'm not like all the others, boarding trains that are not theirs. It's so rude and impolite. I finally reached the newspaper and sat down for my very productive day. It usually consists in watching cat videos on YouTube and messing up Wikipedia entries just for the fun of it. Unfortunately, my chief editor called me in his office. I hate that guy. We'll call him Frank for privacy reasons, even if his real name is Richard. He asked me to interview a physicist. Actually, he didn't ask me, since it was mandatory. Why should I interview a physicist? They are dressed in tracksuits and ask students to run and play sports. End of the story. It's boring. He told me that I'm an idiot, since I was thinking to a teacher of physical education. He explained to me what a physicist really does. Most boring job in the world, apparently. He told me I was going to interview a physicist named Albert Einstein. Never heard about him, but my editor said he's pretty famous. So I went to the meeting and Mr. Einstein was there, waiting for me since I was 2 hours late. I wanted to apologize, then I remembered that my editor said that Einstein's most important discovery is that time doesn't exist. So, I didn't apologize for being late. What's follow is the conversation I had with this famous scientist. So they told me you're quite good at maths, innit?
Yes, it is my strong point. I love mathematics, and I think it is very fascinating to understand how our universe works in terms of mathematical formula and equations.
Let's start with the big one. The question everybody wants to ask you. The most important thing that we should address immediately.
The big question that has made me famous. The meaning of E equals mc squared. Do you know what it means? It means energy equals mass. So I basically created the relationship between energy and matter, which is really fascinating to think about.
I couldn't care less.
Well then, what question is on the top of your head? What do you really want to know? I'm ready for your question.
Who's better between you and Sheldon Cooper?
Dr. Cooper is a fictional character, while my accomplishments are real. There are many similarities between the two of us, but I think that I can prove my superiority through my theories and accomplishments.
Sounds a bit arrogant, mate.
I have the right to brag about my accomplishments and discoveries. After all, many of my theories have revolutionized our understanding of the universe, and the special and general theories of relativity are the foundation upon which modern physics rests.
So, what about Sheldon?
What about him? He is a great scientist in his own way, and the same goes for me. We both have similar but different ways of approaching the universe. I'm a theoretical physicist, and he's an experimentalist. And the fact that we have our differences is what makes both of us strong.
You're wrong. Dr. Cooper is a theoretical physicist.
Ah yes, you are correct on that. Our work is very different, but it is still important. And the fact that we have different ways of understanding the universe and how the universe operates is a good thing.
That's a very chicken shit answer, mate. And I need a bit of trash talk to write a clickbait title for the interview. This is the very basis of modern journalism. Come on. Everybody knows that. So, give me a bit of drama, please. Who do you think would win a math competition between you two?
I would win, because I have a much better understanding of mathematics than Cooper. However, I think that Cooper would put up a good fight in a math competition.
So you were saying you are perfect?
Not at all, I am far from perfect. In fact, I think that I have many flaws, one of which is my arrogance, which you brought up earlier. However, I do think that when it comes to mathematics, my knowledge of the subject is much better than Cooper's.
I wonder what Dr. Cooper would say.
I'm fairly certain he would dispute my claims of superiority, and I imagine that we would get into a debate about whether I am a better mathematician than him.
Could you please give me shorter answer? Otherwise it's very boring.
I apologize if my answers are a bit long and wordy. I am used to writing out detailed explanations of my theories and discoveries.
What's new in the field of physics?
There is a lot of new research and theories being developed in physics right now. For example, there are theories about how the universe started, the Big Bang, and how it will end, the Big Crunch. There are new theories about how the laws of the universe work, and many other new and intriguing theories, like Schrödinger's cat.
Whose cat?
Schrödinger's cat is a theoretical experiment proposed by physicist Erwin Schrödinger in 1935. The experiment imagines a cat inside a closed box, with a vial of poison that is connected to a radioactive substance. The experiment claims that the cat would be both dead and alive until the box is opened.
Wait a second. There's a cat in a box.
That is correct, there is a cat in a box, along with a vial of poison and a radioactive substance.
Well, let's take the polecat out. Or maybe I should say the purr-cat.
That would be one solution to the problem of Schrödinger's cat, and it would also potentially save the cat's life, depending on whether he is currently dead or alive. However, I think that there is also some value in thinking about the paradox that Schrödinger's cat represents, and how we can resolve the contradiction between the cat's dead and alive states. I think that there are many interesting and thought-provoking concepts in Schrödinger's cat. For example, the idea of quantum immortality and the role of human observation in our perception of the world, and it is worth considering these ideas in more detail.
Po-kitty. What's its name?
The cat might, or might not, have a proper name at the same time. You don't know until you ask him.
You mean ask Schrödinger or directly the cat?
I'm poking fun at you, but Schrödinger's theory does make me wonder. Is the cat alive or dead? It is a very thought-provoking question. It is also a very tragic idea, in that the cat may be both dead and alive, and that its fate will depend on the actions of a human, so I think that it is worth considering the many philosophical and moral implications of Schrödinger's cat.
Can we do something for the cat?
The problem is that once you open the box you will either find a dead cat, or you will find a live cat. So no matter what you do, one of the two possibilities is guaranteed to happen when you open the box. So I don't think there is anything you can do to save the cat. What do you think? Is there anything you would do to save the cat?
We should call an animal rights association.
I think that is a great idea. I am a strong supporter of animal rights, and I think that animal rights groups would do a great job of advocating for the protection of Schrödinger's cat, and I would fully support their efforts to save the cat from its fate.
You physicists are very cruel, experimenting on cats. I'm so upset. Can we talk about something different?
Sure.
Is it true that you said that time doesn't exist?
It is indeed. The concept of time is something us humans created. Time doesn't exist, and time is something we have created to measure the duration between events in our universe. Time is a human concept that is not real or physically concrete, but we feel it because our brain created a way to understand time because we need to know if an event occurred within the past, present, or future. So time is something that is only perceived in our head.
If time doesn't exist, how do you calculate extra time in a football match?
Well, time does exist in the sense of how we view the world. So while time itself does not exist, we have created a way to measure length and duration of events through our perception of time.
That's the first application of a scientific discovery to something that actually matters.
A football field is only a certain length, and the extra time that is added in a football match is the length of time the ball is out of bounds. It is determined by looking at how much time the ball was not in play. That is how extra time is calculated. I hope that answer works for you. If not, I will try to elaborate more.
And suddenly, it's boring again. I need to ask you something very technical to address one of the most challenging questions of our contemporary world.
Sure, tell me.
Are there more stars in the universe or more models on OnlyFans? Everybody seems to have an account on that platform these days.
I think that there are definitely more stars in the universe than there are models on OnlyFans. The universe is quite a big place.
Quite a big place? That doesn't sound very scientific.
I think that it is unlikely that there are that many models on OnlyFans. I think that there are definitely some very popular and successful models on OnlyFans, and there are many attractive and talented people on the site, but I think that the number of models on OnlyFans is a very small fraction of how many stars there are in the universe.
My editor asked me to interview you about a book you are presenting.
I am writing an autobiography that I plan to title My Life in Science and Math. I think that it will be a very interesting and insightful look into my life and my work, and I hope that it will inspire others to pursue their own interests in science and math. The book is still in the early stages of writing, but I hope to have it completed within the next few months. What's your favorite book?
Oh, I don't read books. I feel the entire concept of books to be outdated.
That is fair. I can understand why you would feel that way. Books are a very traditional form of media, and there are many other more contemporary media forms available today. However, I think that there is still something to be said for the value of books. For example, the ability to learn from and be inspired by the stories and ideas that they contain. I think that the stories of people's lives are as important as the stories behind scientific achievements. Both can provide valuable insight into human nature and our place in the world.
Is being Albert Einstein better than being an average person?
It has its ups and downs. There is a lot of pressure that comes with being Albert Einstein. I can't go anywhere without people recognizing me. It can be very exhausting, but it can be very rewarding to have people look to me as a role model and someone who can help them.
Final question, Albert. Ask yourself a question and give yourself an answer.
I would ask myself, what is my purpose in life? And I would answer that my purpose is to discover new knowledge about the universe and our place in it, and to pass on this knowledge to future generations, so that they can build on it and use it to make their own discoveries.
Quite boring, Albert. But, quite frankly, I didn't expect anything different.
I understand why you might think that's a boring question. It is a very philosophical and conceptual question.
The interview is over. Thank you very much. See you in the next
I
one.
think that it is a very important question, in that it helps me to understand what drives me and what I want to accomplish with my life, so I think that it is worth considering in more detail. But I can also see how